Jake Claver believes when XRP will reach 10K, kind of what things need to happen first. It does involve the derivatives market. We're going to play the clip. He also gets into like how much XRP are you going to need to retire? That has been a question that gets asked a lot. And I have a few other clips we just need to take a look at, analyze, and go over together. Let's go ahead and start here with the 10,000 XRP. Is it a fantasy or could it be a reality?
If you're going to hold it for that long, yeah. I think that you could see easily 5 digits on XRP in that time frame, $10,000 plus. When XRP and Codius are moving and settling the derivatives market, yeah, $10,000 to $50,000 XRP. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be overnight. They're going to flip a switch, and just don't listen to those people. There are actual things that need to happen, real world events that need to play out for those type of numbers to exist, but they can exist. The math is there. But it is predicated on certain things happening. If you're going to hold.
All right, so he's saying that, of course, these world events need to play out first before we can see XRP reach a high price, as well as other things, maybe like with regulation and getting these markets going. He doesn't believe there's going to be like a flip of the switch moment. He thinks it's going to be predicated on global events and collapses. So let's get into this question. Of course, a lot of people ask, like, how much XRP do I need to retire? Let's see if we can get an answer for you.
Said if you own XRP, you're already rich. Now that we're well into 2025, how much XRP do we need to become rich? What is your thoughts on that?
I think that's different for everybody, right? Everybody has different goals depending on what their vision for their life and their family is. I look at financial freedom or wealth as you have your expenses for your dream life. I would encourage people to write that down, whatever that is for you. For me, the financial freedom is you're making twice that amount from passive income. So you're putting your assets to work in a way where you may have some involvement. You might have to look over things on a regular basis, but you're not actively having to work and spend your time going somewhere and being under somebody else's thumb to make that money. So that number's gonna be very different for everybody. I think you'll be able to earn somewhere between 8 and 12% fairly easily on your XRP. We already have strategies that we're putting it to work and should be generating even beyond that.
Should be generating beyond that. I think some of the strategies that Digital Wealth Partners have had recently haven't played out as exactly how they want to, but we do need to look at it as on a maybe an annual basis and not month by month. The market has been kind of trending downwards, and I think that's why maybe they haven't been doing as well, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different options for people in the future using their XRP to get some type of yield. Now, if we take a look here, if you're trying to make 10 million, 50 million, or $100 million, these are the different price targets that we would need to hit and how much XRP that you would need to own. So if you're looking to get, if you have $1,000 price tag, you would need 10,000 XRP to have 10 million. 5,000, you would only need 2,000 XRP. And if XRP reached $10,000, you would need 1,000 XRP to have $10 million. Wow, that is a great number. And then of course, if you have 10,000 XRP and XRP reaches levels of, 10,000, you'd have 100 million. Of course, if you have 100,000 XRP and it's $1,000, you have 100 million. And then of course, at 5,000, 20,000 XRP would equal to $100 million. Now, if you earned 8 to 12% off of that $100 million, you would have anywhere from $8 to $12 million a year to live off of. What is something that you truly want to own? Like, can you share that down in the comments? Like, if money wasn't an object and XRP reaches this high price that we all think is possible, what is the first thing that you are buying? Is it a house? Is it a car? Is it something else? Are you helping a charity, a family in need? Whatever you can share, I would love to take a look at those answers, guys. All right. And then Jake says the stock market won't be tokenized overnight. Expect settlement to come first with specialized networks like Polymesh and Hedera leading the way.
I do think it's going to be 2026 for tokenization of the stock market. Based on conversations with a few other people around tokenizing the Texas Stock Exchange, I think it's going to be later Q2, Q3, 2026 when we see tokenized stocks. I could be wrong. Would love to be wrong. I think you could have multiple networks involved. Again, like settlement between the clearinghouses and brokers could be facilitated via one blockchain. And then the tokenization of stocks themselves could be on a completely separate blockchain. It just depends on which ones, curated for that, like Polymesh and Polymath, the token. The whole premise behind that is tokenized equities. Like that's the whole thing for that chain, and that's their focus. So most of the time, if like you're going after a specific niche, you're probably going to get that one at least. You also have Hedera, which I think has a lot of traction for potentially tokenizing stocks. Anything that has inherent KYC, AML standards built into it, I think is going to be head and shoulders above other people in that space. And I do think, 2026, I don't think that stocks themselves are going to be tokenized, just the back end settlement of the stocks to be able to settle real time.
All right. So a little bit of information there about what Jake thinks is going to play out here. Sounds like 2026, he expects some very big moves. And then what price does XRP need to reach before it can scale? Let's get into this clip.
What does XRP's price need to be used out of the gate range? It's got to be 50 to 100 bucks just to be used for there to be enough liquidity in it. And that's why we need the supply shock. And it's not going to be a, hey, use it drives it to this price. It's going to be, oh crap, we need this. And everybody runs for it at one time. That's the other reason I think they've put off the ETFs as long as they have, is there needs to be a flood of demand that comes to the market to drive XRP's price to the level where it can be used. And then once it has enough liquidity in it, now it can be used to settle some of those different markets, and it'll maintain that high price. What does XRP?
All right, let's keep it going here. I got a few other things I want to show you why XRP price matters for efficient transactions. 54 seconds. Let's get into this.
He says, is there a set amount of XRP needed to move a set amount of money? Do we know it makes more sense for XRP to be high priced? The fee is fixed on the network, and the higher the price of XRP is, the more money it can move for the less amount of XRP. So as an example, right now, if let's say XRP was $1 instead of what it is, it's higher than that. But if it was $1, you need 1 million XRP to move $1 million. And this is an example that David Schwartz said, you could use 1 million XRP to move $1 million, or if XRP was $1 million a piece, then you would just need 1 XRP to move $1 million. So the network and the asset become much more efficient as the price increases of the asset. And it's really programmed to be around $10,000 is where it starts to reach some of its efficiencies. And so that's where I think it'll be in the next, 48, well, probably less than that, next 24 months. He says, is there a set?
Next 24 months. And I think this clip was from a while ago too, right? He looks a little younger in this clip. So, Jake really does believe that XRP, he has a bunch of predictions, right? 750 by the end of the year, January 2026, 2000 was one of his predictions. And now we're talking about maybe $10,000 for XRP in 2026 or 2027. That is kind of what he's been laying out over the last 6 months to 12 months. And so I'm really going to be eager to see if he's correct on this or if it takes a little bit longer. Personally, I think it takes a little bit longer unless some stuff starts truly just collapsing and you need this massive amount of liquidity to come in and you need XRP to serve its true purpose more quickly. That's when I think things can get crazy really quickly. But with that would bring a lot of pain to the rest of the world. So I am not rooting for that either way. I would rather the world stay as it is and XRP's adoption gains over time. This would also give me more time to buy more XRP. And I reach a goal and then I set a higher goal, right? I get to that goal and I set a higher goal. I'm still buying XRP at the current price, right? I am still doing that. And I will continue to do that as long as it doesn't go $10, I think would be the number that I would maybe I'll buy something else, but I will keep supporting it. All right, let's keep it going here. Next week will be huge. 4 XRP ETFs will launch. Franklin Templeton, Bitwise 21 shares, and CoinShares. That is a spicy week, man. This is turning out to be a great holiday season. I will bring you every piece of news that you need to know around all of this stuff, guys. You know how we do on this channel. 3 videos a day. I've been trying to push 4 videos a day, but that requires so much more time and effort. But if there's enough information, I will make 4 videos a day. If I do whatever I have to keep you updated, I will do. All right. And I appreciate your support through all of this. It has been just incredible, guys. Thank you so much. I was looking at the numbers from November 2024 to November 2025. And I don't even know what to say, guys. I think during that time, we were doing about 8,000 to 10,000 views a day. Right now, we're doing about 150,000 views a day. And so that growth in a year has just been incredible. And just understand that it means the world to me that you're here every single day and that I get to spend this time with you. I don't take that for granted. And I consider it an absolute honor. All right. Let's see. The power of compound interest is unmatched. Doubters will be annihilated. Okay, that's a little spicy for a Sunday, but annihilated we will use. And then here's showing some ETF count, seed per ETF, total inflow. supply absorption, and then price, right? So you start getting to like 1.5, 2% of the supply, things will start, picking up pretty quickly. We've shown some numbers here that, if these, 10 or 12 ETFs launch and they're all getting similar demand, you could see billions of XRP starting to be depleted off exchanges. There's only about 3 billion XRP on exchanges right now. So if you're depleting all of that, you're talking about a massive market cap multiplier. The question is, where will financial institutions sell their XRP at, right? Because those are the ones that are probably will sell first. You will get some retail people that'll say, oh, $10, $15, this is where I get off this train. But that's just like an entree, right? That is like the little tray before the big meal. I didn't wait all of this time to take a easy, quick way out. I am here for all or nothing at this point. Japan considering $100 billion plus stimulus package. Trump calling for 2,000 dividend checks. JP Morgan expects $300 billion liquidity injection to be announced in, I guess, four weeks. China pumping trillions into its economy. Bank of Canada to restart QE program. Fed to end quantitative tightening next month. The exact opposite happened here in 2021 peak when government stopped QE and started rate hikes. This time, everyone is cutting rates and planning on doing liquidity injections. The case for a prolonged bear market looks weak, which means we might get this dip and whatever. And then as soon as governments start printing again, a lot of that money will find its way into markets. And that is what we are hoping supercharge this. But remember, when we start printing all of this money, that could lead to higher inflation. And so there's a balance that the Fed needs to play here with employment, unemployment, and of course with inflation. And that's going to be very tough in the road ahead. I will keep you up to date on all of those things in my Sensei chats that I do twice a week. If you're interested in kind of getting questions answered and asked, show up to those chats. We have anywhere from like 1,500 to 2,500 people there every day. And we kind of talk and we go through a bunch of information. It's a lot of fun. All right. It's crazy watching this narrative flip in real time. They were skeptical of XRP for years, and now they're openly calling XRP community huge, committed, and excited. Okay, Scott Melker, not too much good stuff at one time, because Scott has been one of the most openly aggressive people against the XRP community for some time. I don't know how many tweets he's asked, what is XRP's real use case? He does this every 6 months for engagement. He comes and he attacks the XRP community, and then he goes, oh, okay, maybe I get it now. We'll see you in 6 more months, Scott.
A community that is very excited about them, and it's a reasonable project. There can be a lot of people who dislike it, by the way. I'm not surprised that the XRP launch is doing well. There's a lot of people who love XRP, right?
A huge community that is excited about that thing and wants to buy it. Absolutely.
Yeah. People thought no, because like the average crypto investor is skeptical of XRP. That does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
That just means they won't touch it, but you have this huge committed community. So we'll launch some single coin stuff, but I'm really, really focused on the index product, right? I think there is going to be
You see this? It's painful for him to talk nice about XRP, right? You see this brow here? Not so painful. It is scrunched. He is aggravated here. And I get why. He's going to be real mad when XRP goes to $10, $20, $100. He's going to be like, man, I had the opportunity, and instead of trying to understand all of this the whole time, I just railed against it, and I was wrong the whole time? Okay, Scott, I will remind you when we get there, Scott. Trust me, I am looking forward to that. I have a little sticky note. Boom. I will remind you, Scott. All right, guys, let's end it there. We'll get a little spicy here on a Sunday, but I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope this answered some of your questions, especially like how much XRP do you need to retire? I can't wait for all of us to get there. We're going to get there together. I'll see you next time.